Welcome to another episode of the I Am Undeniable podcast. I'm your host, Alex Sundar, and I am going to be talking about why running isn't going to help you lose weight. I know this is a bit of a controversial topic sometimes, but we're going to get into it. We're going to get straight into it. We're going to drop a ton of value on here and really just explain the perspective of like why you probably shouldn't run to lose body fat, why you shouldn't run to lose weight, and what you can do instead in order to be successful on your fat loss journey. So by the time this episode is done, if you got value from it, click that subscribe button. It helps support the podcast, helps support the channel. And let's really get into it. So why can I talk about this topic? I used to be a runner. I grew up as an athlete. I was a soccer player. I ran all the fucking time, like so much that it kind of hurts my soul in a way, right? In a way. And one of the things I actually talk about with people, it's like when we consider to lose weight, the first thing a lot of people lean into is doing cardiovascular activity, especially when it comes down to running. Now, running, I love running. I love cardiovascular training. I think it's a very, very good benefit to do when it comes down to overall health, when it comes down to conditioning your body, when it comes down to conditioning your heart, your lungs, so you can ultimately perform better in your day-to-day life and ultimately perform better when it comes down to strength training. Now, here's the caveat. Running itself isn't going to help you lose body fat. Now, the reason for this is you need to be in something called a caloric deficit. It's called the law of thermodynamics. So unless you are in a calorie deficit, you're just not going to lose body fat. That's just a straight up truth. Even if you run, but you eat up all your calories back, you're just not going to lose the weight that you want to come off. And I've seen many people be way more successful when it comes down to losing body fat from not running and getting better results that way. Now, I'm not saying you can't run. I'm going to touch on it throughout this stream here as I'm going through and what you can actually do with it as you're going throughout it. But let's talk about it. The law of thermodynamics. It's calories in versus calories out. And the one thing with running is if you don't have certain foundational principles, you could lose weight, but you could also lose a lot of lean muscle tissue at the same time, which is honestly something that we want to avoid. Having lean muscle tissue on your body is extremely beneficial. It's extremely good for you as well. And plus, on the other side, if you just get off your butt and you start running without any kind of like previous history of running or any kind of training to train your joints, your lower back, your joint capacity, strengthening your body, you shouldn't just get off the couch and start running to lose weight. That's just the straight up facts. Unless you are like someone who is, has a good foundation of strength, good lean muscle, it's just not going to actually benefit you when it comes down to losing weight. I've actually seen more people actually hurt themselves, whether it's in their lower back, knees, or ankles from running versus actually losing weight. So what should you be doing instead? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to go in something what we call a calorie deficit. You need to create a deficit within your body. A simple formula you can do is you can take your body weight, current body weight, you multiply that by 12, and that is going to give you a rough estimate. It's a very simple calorie, but your maintenance calories. It's not the most accurate piece of tool out there, but it will give you a good general idea of what your total calories are. From there, you want to go into a caloric deficit. So 1 pound of body fat is equal to about 3,500 calories roughly. So you want to create that 3,500 calorie deficit throughout the week. And this usually means you got to be in a negative 500 caloric deficit daily in order to lose 1 pound of body fat per week, right? So that's kind of like the general scope of where we really want you to be in terms of that. Now, when it comes down to losing that weight, the main focus you're going to have is going to be on your nutrition. You want to consume a higher protein diet. You want to consume carbohydrates. You want to consume fats. But as long as you're within that caloric deficit window, you are really good, right? Now, when it comes down to macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats, you can check out the rest of the podcast or some other information on there, or you can DM me on Alex Sundar Fit, and we can talk about, caloric numbers and macro ratio numbers that are specific to you to get in there. But that's like where we want to start. The second part is we actually want to lift weights. Most people, I suggest 3 to 4 times per week, whatever you can essentially be consistent with, whether that's at home or at the gym. Now, the reason why this is very, very important, for some people, you might put on a little bit of lean muscle mass as you're losing body fat, but the goal is to maintain your strength. The goal is to maintain muscle mass as you lose weight. And at the same time, it's a good opportunity that if one of your goals is to eventually run, maybe you want to do a 5K, this is where you can actually work on foundational principles that can prep you for your run, right? And I suggest if you want to do competitive running, or you want to do like a 5K or 10K or a half marathon, you should be eating significantly more calories and not be in a deficit for that, because your body's going to need the fuel in order to function with that. So you want to do exercises and mobility work, the strengthening at your hips, ankles, knees, work on the right muscles so you can strengthen your body to prep for that after you get to your goal body weight. So I'm a really, really big fan, and I'm a big believer in working in phases for training versus focusing on working on every single thing at a time. You will get better results working in phases compared to just working on everything at once. So we got that down, right? Nutrition, we got working out involved. The third part is something called your TDEE, which is your total daily energy expenditure. And that's where you can burn calories throughout the day from moving. A lot of people get that from doing daily steps. It can be 5,000 steps, 10,000 steps, whatever it kind of like you can keep consistent off with in the beginning. And as the first week goes by, second week goes by, third and fourth, weight is going to drop off your body, right? Weight is going to drop off your body. And then when you stall in terms of weight loss, that's where you can actually increase that deficit by either your nutrition, your TDEE, right? I don't suggest adding more strength training on top of it. Do like that 3 to 4 times per week. Or you can also adding cardiovascular training as well to burn those extra calories. And then once you get down to your goal body weight, or you get your mobility in place and your strength in place, and you got that good foundation set in, then what we actually want to do from there is we want to, for what I do for most of my clients, is put them on a reverse diet or slowly increase calories so we can bring you up to that maintenance window where now we can focus on other aspects of training. And it's a lot easier to do once you get to your goal body weight. And it's a lot easier to do as well once you get more food in place that's going to supply your energy with the energy to perform during training. Running itself is very hard on the body, in my opinion. It can be difficult for a lot of people to do, especially if you haven't been athletic or been an athlete for a couple of years and you want to work your way up to it, right? Fat loss is not just like a 90-day game plan. It is like you want to make a good structured approach in order to get to your goal. And then, like I mentioned, once you get to your goal, right, and once you can increase your calories back up to that maintenance level, and you have that foundation of strength within your mobility, within your muscles, within your training, then we can introduce other aspects within your training, such as going for strength PRs in the gym, really focusing on strength, putting on lean muscle tissue on areas. That could be on your chest, your shoulders, maybe for you ladies, on your glutes, right? That's where we can put that focus on. And that's where we can actually start to focus on if your goal is to actually run, right, a couple times per week, then we can put more focus into running and put you on a structured program that is going to be working the proper systems to get you to be accomplished or like a decently good runner. But I want you to keep in mind, if your goal is fat loss, if your goal is to lose that weight, just dial yourself in and focus on that one thing only. You're going to be extremely more successful. Fat loss is different than when it comes down to performance. Fat loss is different when it just comes down to being a good runner. Remember, running is not just going to help you lose weight. It is that calorie deficit that is going to allow you to be extremely successful long term. So if you got value from this podcast episode, DM me on my Instagram, Alex Sundar Fit. Let me know your biggest takeaway from it. I would love to know that. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Peace, love, and protein.